Hey, let's talk about cause and effect, or causal analysis, as chapter 15 is called, as you get ready to write this paper, your second paper, and read and understand this chapter. So first, let's talk about the purpose of cause and effect. It's important that you understand the purpose of what you're doing, of what you're writing, what you're reading. And the purpose is to understand, first of all, why did this happen? So that would be an explanation of the cause. So you're looking at a topic and you want to be able to explain why something happened. Also, what will this do? Then that would be the prediction of an effect. So here's the cause. What is going to happen as a result of it? What's the effect? So we can also think about it this way. The cause is looking into the past, right? So we look and see what has caused something, and then when we look at effects, we're looking into the future. What could possibly happen as a result? And so if you take a minute to consider how this might be useful to you, for example, in your personal life, your career, in school, academic studies, and it already is useful. If you think about how many times you think this way, probably every day, when we start thinking about why something happened, something's bothering us, or even something good, if you examine the results or the cause of that, then you can try to make something good happen again, for example. 3 types of causes you have here on pages 267 and 268 are necessary, sufficient, and contributory. And so a necessary cause must be there, it must be present, but it can't work on its own to create the effect. A sufficient cause can produce the effect just all by itself, it's sufficient. And then the contributory might help produce the effect, but it certainly can't do it alone. And so you see the differences between the 3 of those. Understanding those can help you not be dogmatic in what you say in this paper. And by that, we mean overly insistent, these just big, super general statements. You have some good examples on page 268, like a vegetarian diet will prevent cancer. That would be a dogmatic statement because that's saying a whole lot. That's a big statement, right? Let's talk about how you will organize this essay. Organization is huge, and you have a lot of leeway here. You have a lot of freedom with both your topic and how you choose to organize it. So you could write about all effects. So these are all of the effects of blank. You could write about all causes. These are all of the causes of blank, a certain topic. You could organize it as a causal chain, and this would be like this chain of cause, effect. And there's an example. Sleeping late causes you to miss breakfast, which causes you to be hungry and distracted, which causes you to do poorly on an exam. So it could be like this chronological line of organization, if you want to do it like that. You might also cover all of the causes before discussing all of the effects. So you could do both. Let's say you do 6 body paragraphs. You do 3 discussing the causes, then 3 discussing the effects. But do understand you don't have to cover all the causes and effects. Some of the best essays discuss one or the other. I like super specific essays, and so you don't have to do it all. You don't have to cover it all. Just be sure to have a clear pattern of organization. That makes for a good paper. That makes it easy to follow. I love to be able to recognize very quickly what a student's pattern of organization is. And in order to do that, you really have to take the time to do the work beforehand. Hardly anyone, certainly not me, hardly anyone can just sit down and beautifully write, just put the pen to the paper, put their hands to the keyboard, and just write something awesome. No, we have to take time to do the work beforehand. And so you can ask yourself, have you uncovered all of the causes and effects and then decided which ones are the most important? So you kind of narrow it down, and that's how you think to determine what goes in your paper, what goes in those paragraphs. I suggest using an outline to brainstorm and organize your paper. Some method of pre-organization you really need to use. Some of you are already doing that, I'm sure. If not, you need to develop one that works for you. And if you need help with that, let me know. Also, you need, of course, a thesis statement, a controlling idea for this paper, and that will identify your topic and the causes and or effects that you're going to be writing about. People do this in different ways. I am the kind of person who has to write that statement first, and then I use it as my map for my paper, my guide. But then other people, it works better for them if they write the paragraphs first and then use those paragraphs to then craft a thesis statement out of. Both ways are fine. It's just our brains work differently. If you need help with that or clarification, let me know. And then just make sure the whole thing, and then each paragraph individually has a clear purpose. And it needs to be readily clear. When I start reading that paragraph, I should know, oh, this paragraph is about this cause. This paragraph is about this effect. This whole paper is about blank. So on page 268, you have an example from Walden. It's under the label Make Your Purpose Clear. And there's a thesis statement there, a good cause and effect thesis statement from Walden. So the thesis statement should be near the end of the introduction of your paper, so you kind of lead up to it. And it should be a sentence or two. I should be able to read that sentence or two and know what your entire paper is about. After you've done a draft, review those body paragraphs and be able to say quickly, what's the cause discussed in this one? What's the effect discussed in this one? I should, or you should, both of us should be able to quickly read that and label each paragraph, C or E, cause or effect. And what is the cause? What is the effect? That's how you know your purpose is clear. It shouldn't be questionable. And then, like I said, either let those statements, let how you have labeled them guide your thesis statement, or let the thesis statement guide how you write those paragraphs. Either way works. Now, how do you choose a topic? Some of you have already come up with one, I'm sure. Some of you are still trying to figure it out. Some pointers: choose a modest topic. Don't bite off more than you can chew. For example, what is the cause of war? That's too much, right? You need to be a little more specific than that. Focus on the immediate rather than a remote cause. So what is really the cause? So think immediate rather than way down the line. You know, like that causal chain we talked about. You don't want to get to the end of that chain and focus on that first. Focus on the immediate. Again, don't be dogmatic, and there's examples on pages 268 and 269. Another one, example would be violence in America is caused by violent television programs. That's a dogmatic statement. It's too much. It would be better to say violence in America is influenced by television programs. That's more accurate, more appropriate. And then just use common sense. You all have it. Think that way as you write. And as always, just let me know if you have questions, if you need help with anything. Just shoot me an email. I'm glad to help.